In this video, we will partially recreate the Feature Vertices to Points tool that is only available on an advanced license with ArcGIS Pro. Open up the Vertices to Points.py script from the Tools folder in your Python scripts. While the Feature Vertices to Points tool with ArcPy has an optional parameter of point location where you can select all, midpoints, start, ends, both ends, and dangle. In our example, we are only going to get all vertices as points. We first import ArcPy. Our tool requires two parameters, inFeatures and our output feature class. We have a handful of tool object requirements. We will get the spatial reference ID for our input feature class, so we can apply the same spatial reference to our output feature class. We'll get a list of field names from our input feature class, but we're only interested in fields that are not of type blob, geometry, global ID, OID, and raster. We want to access the geometry, so we'll append the shape@at token to our fields list. For our output feature class, we want to add the OrigID field. This should actually be OrigFID. And this is because the Feature Vertices to Points tool in ArcGIS Pro creates an OrigFID field in the output. We will access the OID field from the input features in order to populate the output field. We'll create an empty list called point list, and this list will hold the attributes and geometry for our output feature class. We'll jump straight into getting the vertices. We will use our SearchCursor. We supply our input features as our in table and our in field names as the list of fields to access. We use the optional explode to points parameter and set this to equal true. This will create a row in our cursor for every vertex in each geometry. For each row in our cursor, we're going to append to our point list, and we're going to append in each row as a list. We'll then create a temporary point feature class using the ArcPy create feature class tool. We'll use the memory workspace, so this dataset is purely held in memory and not written to disk. We'll add our OrigFID field to the temporary dataset, and we'll replace our OID field name in our field list to OrigFID. This will prepare the field names list for the output. We then use the ArcPy InsertCursor, and we supply in our temp FC that sits in memory as our in table, and we use our in field names as the field names list. The first entry in this in fields names list is our OrigFID, and the last is our shape@at token. For each list or attributes in our points list, we're going to call the InsertCursor insert row method and supply in our attributes. And it contains the attributes from the original feature from the SearchCursor. We then write our temporary feature class to disk using the export features tool, supplying in our temporary feature class and our out feature class as the parameters. We then do a little cleanup and clean up the memory workspace by calling the delete tool on our temporary feature class. In this video, we walked through the Python script that will be behind our Feature Vertices to Points tool in ArcGIS Pro. We saw in this tool that we use the SearchCursor with the optional explode to points parameter set to true to get the attributes and geometry for every vertex in our dataset, store that information in a list of lists, and then use those lists in an InsertCursor to add each point to a new feature class. In the next video, we will create the custom tool in ArcGIS Pro. In this video, we will create our custom Feature Vertices to Points tool in ArcGIS Pro. We are in our ArcPy cursors APRX. I'm going to close the Python window and the attribute table as they are not required. Over on the right hand side in the catalog, I'll expand toolboxes and right click on our ArcPy cursors toolbox and select New and Script. Let's name this Feature Vertices to Points. We'll also label similar, Feature Vertices to Points. We'll copy that and paste into the description. You can put in a more detailed description if you like. For our parameters, we'll start with input features. And we'll name this in features like our script. Our data type is feature layer. It is required and it is input. For the filter, let's set it that you can only pick polygon or polyline. It doesn't make much sense to use points. Click OK. And our second parameter is output feature class. And we'll set that to be out feature class as it is in our script. And the output will be a feature class. It is required and the direction is output. For execution, click on the folder over on the right hand side. Go into folders and into our ArcPy cursors, into our Python scripts and tools, and select our vertices to points.py script. Click OK, and no validation is required. Click OK. Now you can double click on your Feature Vertices to Points tool, or you can right click and select Open. In this video, we created our Feature Vertices to Points tool in ArcGIS Pro. In the next video, we are going to see it in action. In this video, we will see our custom Feature Vertices to Points tool in action in ArcGIS Pro. We are in our ArcPy Cursor's APRX. Over on the right hand side, we have our Feature Vertices to Points tool open. You will need to have created the tool from the last video. We can access the tool from our catalogue, in our toolboxes and in our ArcPy Cursor's toolbox. You can double click on Feature Vertices to Points or right click and select Open. For our input features, let's select our Selbridge buildings. For our output feature class, we can click on the folder. It might automatically bring you to the ArcPy Cursor's GDB. Let's provide an output feature class name, fdm_ben_buildings vertices_point. Click Save. We'll run our tool. And we can see that points have been created for each vertex in all our polygon geometries from our Selbridge buildings layer. I'll zoom out a little and I'll turn off our buildings vertices points. And let's rerun for our Selbridge roads. You can see here that this list is only polygon and line layers as per the settings for the parameters of this tool. Let's select Selbridge roads. For our output feature class, we'll click on the folder and we will name this FDM TPT for transport, and we'll just call it road vertices. Click Save and let's run the tool. And we can see that a point was created for every vertex in our Selbridge roads layer. Let's take a look at the attribute tables for each of our new feature classes. We right click on our buildings vertices and go to attribute table. We can see that each point has the attributes from the original polygon feature it was created from. If we see here for St. Patrick's, we also see that the orange FID field contains 1. So all these features here were created from the feature in our Selbridge buildings that had an object ID of 1. I'll open the Selbridge buildings attribute table and we can see our St. Patrick's entry there. I'll also open up the road vertices attribute table and we can see that it has maintained the attributes from the roads layer. In this video, we saw our custom feature vertices to points tool in action in ArcGIS Pro. We ran the tool twice, once on a polygon feature class and once on a linear feature class, and we assessed the output for each. In this video, we will walk through the Python script that powers our archive deleted rows custom tool in ArcGIS Pro. Open the archive deleted rows.py script from the tools folder in your Python scripts. We will first import ArcPy. Our tool has three user inputs. The inFeatures represents the feature class that we're going to delete rows from. Our archive FC represents the feature class that is going to act as the archive for our deleted rows. And we'll have an optional where clause, which is an SQL expression. We have a handful of tool object requirements. We will get a list of all field names from our input feature class. We will also get a list of field names from our archive feature class. We'll get the geometry type for our input feature class and also the geometry type for our archive feature class. We'll create a variable called deleted and set this to be an empty list, and this list will hold the attributes and geometry for our deleted rows. We need to perform a couple of checks. We will check that the field names from our input feature class match the field names in our archive feature class. We will use list comprehension to return a list of all matching field names. If the length of the matching field names does not match the length of our input feature class field names, we use ArcPy to deliver a warning to the user and the script will end here. We will then check that the input feature class shape type, so the geometry, if it does not match the archive geometry type, use ArcPy to add a warning in our tool and stop right here. However, if it passes those two, we are going to delete our rows and archive the rows to a feature class. We will need to access the geometry, so we'll append the shape at token to our field names from our input feature class. We will use the update cursor and supply our inFeatures as the inTable, our inField names as a list of field names, and if a where clause was set, it'll be used to subset the data and delete those particular rows. For each row in our cursor, we will append each row to our deleted list. We then call the update cursor delete row method and delete each row in the cursor. With our deleted list populated, we will use the InsertCursor and supply in our archive feature class as our inTable and our infield names as the field names list. For each row, so for each list in our deleted list, we will call the InsertCursor insert row method and supply in the list, which is the row in our for loop. This tool will allow us to delete rows from one feature class and insert them into a second feature class as an archive. In this tool, we are using the update cursor to delete rows from a feature class, and we are using the insert cursor to insert rows into another feature class. In this video, we will walk through creating our archive deleted rows tool in ArcGIS Pro. This will be a custom tool in our toolbox. We are in our ArcPy cursor's APRX. I'm going to close the attribute tables from the previous section and clear any selections. And I'll turn off all layers except for the Selbridge buildings. And I'll center that. None of that was needed for what I'm about to show you, but I will set it up for the next video. I'll click into Catalog, and in our toolboxes and ArcPy cursor's toolbox, I'll right click and select New and go to Script. We'll name this Archive Deleted Rows, and we'll also give give it a label of similar. Archive deleted rows. And let's copy and paste it into the description. You can give it a more in-depth description if you like. We'll click into our parameters. We have our input features. And we'll set the name to be in features. The data type is a feature layer. It is required and it is input. We then have our archive feature class. We'll call this archive_fc. And we set that to be a feature layer also. It is required and the direction is input. We then have our where clause. And this is an SQL statement. So we select SQL expression from our dropdown and click OK. And it isn't required, we have it as optional. We need to set a dependency for our where clause that is dependent on our input features. We'll click into our execution, click on the folder on the right hand side. In our folders, we go to our ArcPy cursors folder, into our Python scripts and into our tools and select archive deleted rows.py that we saw in the previous video. Click OK. And we do not require any validation for this tool. Click OK. On the right hand side, you can double click into archive deleted rows or right click and select open. In this video, we created the custom archive deleted rows tool in ArcGIS Pro. In the next video, we are going to see it in action. In this video, we will see our archive deleted rows custom tool in ArcGIS Pro in action. We are in our ArcPy cursors APRX and the only layer we have turned on is our Celebrate buildings. Let's create an archive feature class. Go into our catalog and into databases and right click on ArcPy cursors GDB and go to new and feature class. Don't know why that's floating all the way out there. We'll call this FDM_BEN for built environment and we'll call it archived buildings _poly for polygon. We'll give it an alias sure of archived buildings. There's a polygon. We won't have any Z values. We'll click next. And we're going to import from our Celebrate buildings. We click on import, go to databases and into our ArcPy cursors GDB and click on our Celebrate buildings feature class. Click OK. We can see the fields populate. We'll click next. We want it to be the Irish Transverse Mercator, which is EPSG 2157. And we will click finish. And we can see in our contents, our archived buildings has been added. In our toolboxes and in our ArcPy cursors toolbox, you can double click on archive deleted rows or right click and select open to open the tool. We will select our Celebrate buildings as our input feature class. And we will set our archived buildings as our archive feature class. We don't want to delete every building, so let's set a where clause. Let's use the object ID is equal to 1. If we open up the Celebrate buildings attribute table, we can see that this is St. Patrick's Church, which is highlighted here in the map. I'll clear that selection. And let's run the tool. Our tool is complete. I'm going to open up the archive buildings attribute table. We can see there is one entry in there. It still hasn't been removed from our Celebrate buildings. Let's refresh the map. And we can see now it is gone. If I place the archived buildings layer under our Celebrate buildings, we can see that it is no longer a black building and it has been moved into our archived buildings feature class. Let's make a small selection. Let's select these buildings here, 3 buildings. I can click into the show selected records. We have Selbridge Library, the Duck and Vincent's. I want to click back into catalog and reopen the tool. I'll add back in Selbridge buildings and our archived buildings. We can see under Selbridge buildings there's a toggle to use the selected records. I'm not going to supply in a where clause this time. So let's run the tool. Now if I refresh the map, we're getting an error here because I have the show selected records open and those records have been deleted. That's okay. By clicking OK, it has closed the attribute table. I'll reopen the Selbridge buildings attribute table. Those 3 buildings have been removed and they've been placed into our archive buildings. As we can see in the map, they've changed colour. I'll clear the selection. Look what happens now if I try and put the Selbridge buildings into another polygon layer. Let's select the Selbridge land use as our archive feature class and click run. We have this warning that the fields do not match. In this video, we saw our archive deleted rows custom tool in ArcGIS Pro in action. At the heart of this tool, there are 2 cursors, an update cursor and an insert cursor.